Brogan! Brogan, what happened? Brogan!
What are you doing? Who said you were allowed to stop? Keep the podcast going. We're recording fast. Yes, pods. They're casting in. One who spreads ideas and content must accept their pursuit. He will never be far from either. What could be more beautiful than doing work that puts your soul at risk? Because that is what it means to podcast. At least on this platform. Hi, I'm Brogan.
And I'm Josh.
And this is How-to Otaku. Wait, we fucked that one up, dude. That one sounded good.
And this is the show where we dig up anime buried deep beneath the snowy mountains and discover the deep secrets held within.
You're really going full send on the mountain theme from the last 5, yeah?
Yeah, well, I think the mountains in these 5 episodes are fun.
It's rad. It's so rad. This is one of my favorite parts of this show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this is a mini-series, in case you didn't know, on Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. The show where short people are routinely discriminated against, but not as badly as, every nationality that isn't a white person. So,
Or a Chinese person.
I mean, the Chinese
No, even the Shingies aren't that bad.
But, yeah, they're not... it's not it's more out of design than anything else, I guess.
This series treats minorities bad.
Yeah, but
this series treats everyone bad.
Yeah, the white people in this show suck too. So
right, the white people in this show suck in that they're shown to treat other people badly. Anyways,
yeah. So there's a little housekeeping to do. The first of which is rather obvious to our
in the now listeners. Future listeners don't have to worry about this because all of these will already be here. But the people who are trying to keep up with this show, and you're doing so good for what we're giving you.
Yeah. So we had an episode lined up to come out, but then some fucky shit happened with our audio quality, and we just couldn't salvage it. So we didn't have a new episode come out last week, but that's all right, because we were actually trying to figure out some ways to improve the show anyway. We were trying to find a schedule that kind of works better with our personal lives, because as much as we love doing this show, it's a pet project of ours, and it can't really come before anything else that is important in our lives. So we have to figure out how to get it to work within our own schedules. So
right. If this manages to start bringing in enough revenue for both of us to pay for college and whatnot, then not to say that I don't find this important. I enjoy doing this, and I think it is an important thing for me to have something like this to work on. Mm-hmm. That being said, I have a class that has assigned me 3 70-plus question assignments.
Oh.
That are all due on the same day.
Wow.
And it's only been a week and a half of classes.
Yeah, that's really rough, dude. I didn't even know about that.
Yeah. So, I'm doing my best, but wow. Also, Josh and I were workshopping, and I bought Procreate on my iPad, and I made a new podcast art. I hope you enjoy it. It took me several hours today. I went through many revisions, and it's only going to be here for the next 5 or 6 episodes. Yeah. Wait, no, we're moving to a 10-episode format. It's only going to be here for the next 2 episodes, Josh.
Yeah, that's what we're going to that's what I was getting at earlier, trying to figure out a way for the show to better fit our schedules, and we found something that we not only think will work better for us, but we think will make the content feel more appropriate for the medium we're working in, which is both anime and podcasts. So instead of doing a weekly show that's going to cover 5 episodes each, and we're gonna have these weird episodes where it's between one sort of season and another sort of season, we're going to do one of these seasons at a time. They're called cores, I believe, in anime. and they're like 10 to 13.
I've only ever called. Right. You told me that your cousin told you this. I've only ever heard them called arcs.
Yeah, so I looked it up. It's apparently like a real term that people use. So like I'm not pulling it out of my ass, but like it's we're going to be covering like one 10 to 13 episode core or arc every other week now, instead of doing 5 episodes every week. And this way there's less, like there's less scheduling and weirdness on our part, and we're covering more content every week, and we can talk about the show in less of a recappy way and have more interesting things to say about like particular arcs within shows. So I think that it's going to be better for all of us.
I agree.
And so this episode and the next one are going to be a little weird because they're going to be us trying to like manage our schedules to manage what we have right now to what we want to do later. So this week we're doing 10 episodes covering the episodes we were going to do last week and this week. And then next week we're going to do a 4-episode podcast covering episodes 36 through 39. And then by that point we'll be on our bi-weekly schedule. Every other week we'll cover 13 episodes or something like that. So yeah, that's how that's going to go. So
yes, and seeing as this show is coming to an end much sooner than I expected it to, we'll have another call to action at the end, but I would very much like to, within the next couple of episodes, share some of our ideas for the next shows we want to cover, and have some audience feedback in terms of deciding what we should watch. Just to spitball a couple ideas I have, I want to do something a little shorter, I think. And my right off the dome, I'm thinking Fooly Cooly, or maybe give me 1 second. I know I've got I hold on. I know we've got an anime we could cover list. Did you put Nintendo DSi firmware 1.4.2 in this drive by chance?
No, I did not.
Interesting. I probably did that in some sort of intoxicated haze trying to hack my 3DS or something.
Yeah, I don't have a DS or a 3DS, so like that wouldn't help me much.
So, the shows that we could do, and I'm just gonna dome off 3 of them. Okay, 4 of them.
All right, hit me.
Fooly Cooly.
Okay, what is that?
That's a hard question, Josh. That's a really hard question.
Like, can you at least tell me like what genre is it? Because it sounds kind of science fiction, but like, is it or?
There's a boy and there's a girl who might be an alien, and he has a robot that comes out of his forehead, and there's a lot of allegories for puberty.
Okay.
It's a very good show. I'm giving you about as much as I know how to explain it.
Okay.
And I've seen this show like 3 times.
I mean, like, that sounds like, I don't know. I tend to find like weird things like that, like a little bit up my alley. So we'll see.
It's very weird. I would hope that you'd like it.
All right. Hit me. What's next?
But it's very short. So we've got Fooly Cooly. We've got Anohana is the one. Yeah, we could do Fooly Cooly, Anohana, Devilman Crybaby.
I've heard of that one.
And I kind of want to save this one for later, but Cowboy Bebop.
Okay. Yeah, I've seen some Cowboy Bebop. I didn't finish it, but I got through some of it. And not because like
it's in my top 3.
Yeah.
It's in my top 3.
Yeah, a lot of people say it's a really great show, and I liked what I saw. It's just like I personally have a hard time getting into television and like sticking with a show. So just like, I didn't stick with it.
And I will say for some of these shows we might actually be able to do the original format of 5 episodes since they are shorter, and we can do them kind of as filler arcs between bigger shows.
Yeah.
So instead of just having 2 weeks about Cowboy Bebop, we could have 4 weeks or 5 weeks about Cowboy Bebop.
We could do that.
And so we could fill out about as much time with a shorter show, but honestly, one that has more impact on me than something like another long one off this list. Dragon Ball Z Frieza arc. That's like twice as long, and it's very good.
Yeah.
But we could cover all of the content in the Dragon Ball Z Frieza arc in about the same time that we could cover all the meaningful content in Cowboy Bebop. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, I think that we should adapt the format to the show. And for Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, I think that the 10-episode format is good.
Yeah.
For something like Cowboy Bebop, I think that a longer, more drawn-out 5-episode thing would be good, with like 4 episodes for major content and then 1 for the movie.
Yeah. The one I'm kind of gravitating towards right now is Devilman Crybaby, and that's just because, like, it's the only one who's created by a creator whose work I'm familiar with. I've seen a couple of Masaki Yuasa's films before. I just saw, what's the one they just added to HBO Max? I'm trying to remember. The one where she drinks a lot, and...
Hold on.
Night is Short, Walk On Girl. That's what it's called.
Night is Short, Walk On... I don't know that one.
Yeah, it's very, very good. Like, it's obviously weird because it's a Masaki Yuasa project, but, like...
Right.
I have to admit, like, the protagonist herself isn't incredibly interesting, but she kind of has, like, that weird, like, Paddington effect where, like, she's constantly making the world around her better, and, like, you know, it's more about, like, her experience of the world rather than her, like, going through an emotional arc or anything. So,
I gotcha.
It's a really, really interesting film, and, what's the other one I saw? Lou Over the Wall. Have you heard of that one?
No, I've not.
That's another one he made where, like, there's, like, a mermaid, and they're trying to keep it secret from this town that, like, hates mermaids. I personally thought it was, like, fine. It's not the greatest, but I thought there was a lot of interesting stuff in there. Like, I'd say the first half of that movie is really good, and then the second half kind of lets it down, but,
And as usual, just absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, like, very, very distinct style, and...
I will also throw out there, and this is the last thing I'll say on this during this episode, because we've got a lot of content to cover. We could do a film, and if we did a film, I would recommend Summer Wars.
Okay. That sounds familiar. I'm trying to remember what it's about. Give me a second.
It's kind of like the Digimon movie.
I don't know what the fuck Digimon is, but...
Wow.
I'm sorry,
Wow.
Like, I was the kid at school who collected Pokemon cards exclusively because other kids thought Pokemon cards were cool. I did not care for that, like, actually have a care for them, or, like, the game behind them, or any of the movies or stuff like that. I just collected them because I thought it would be a sign of social status. So, like... You know, I did not grow up with any of this shit. Like, really.
Did you have the Golden Burger King Mewtwo card?
No, I don't. But I do have a Pikachu from Japan, and I thought that was really cool until I realized how many people actually have them. But
I also see. Okay, I know I lied, but this is the last one. 78 episodes of Sonic X is on here.
I think that was.
Anyways, we're not talking about that right now. If you've got input, if you've got feedback, send it to our email, send it to our Twitter, do a voice message directly to the podcast. We'll cover it in the next couple of episodes, and we'll let you know at the season finale what the next show we're talking about is.
Yeah, and I've been thinking about it a little bit, and like back to like the covering movies thing. Should we cover movies, and like how would we incorporate that into the schedule? Like, would we just do, like, one episode every now and again dedicated to a movie? Or, like, would it be bonus episodes? Would we do them on a weird schedule? Like, how would we do that?
I think that movies, we could do... If they're part of a series, we'd do them with the series as long as they made sense to do with the series. Yep. Otherwise, I think they could be bonus episodes. And if we really felt like it, we could set up like a Patreon for bonus episodes discussing movies. but that's like seventh dimension chess, like down the line in the future kind of business talk.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we should probably get off of that and start talking about things people actually care about, which is not like our weird schedules or like, all the businessness of ours. Like, let's talk about like real shit. Like, you know, um,
Let's talk about the real important shit, the only shit that actually matters. Anime.
yes. Okay, so there's a little bit of news. First of all, we talked about this the last time we recorded this episode, but I guess we've got to cover it again. There's a new Ghibli movie coming out, and it's coming to HBO Max on February 5th. It's called Earwig and the Witch, and it looks kind of interesting, I think. Like, not like especially from a storytelling perspective, but because Studio Ghibli's moving to this other medium that they've never done before. And so I'm just kind of interested in what that will look like. It's been seeming to get decent reviews so far, but I have yet to see like anything that's exclusively promising about it.
It looks like people watch it, or it looks like the people who have watched it have enjoyed it. I have no interest whatsoever in it.
Okay.
I'm gonna watch it anyways because it's a new Ghibli movie, and they're doing the thing that Miyazaki said that he'd never do. So, it's worth watching. I think it's worth giving a go. But I mean, nothing about it stands out to me as particularly interesting.
Yeah, I think there's going to definitely be like a pushback and a controversy towards it just because of its implementation of CGI, which like CGI isn't entirely new to Studio Ghibli. I believe Princess Mononoke had some CGI involved, just because some of those sequences are absolutely crazy and they had to use it.
That movie is so fucking beautiful. It's been so long since I've seen it. I couldn't tell you if it had CG in it. I think some of Howl's Moving Castle might have been CG.
Yeah.
But even then, I think Howl's Moving Castle even was fully hand animated, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, so like CGI isn't entirely new to the studio. It's just the first time they've done a fully CGI film, and it seems to have a lot of people riled up just because they see it as like the nail in the coffin for 2D animation. And I think that's a little bit overblown. Like, first of all, that's completely disregarding the fact that this was actually created as a TV movie for Japan, and it's only getting like a lot of attention here in America because it's a new Ghibli thing. So, and so it's just kind of disregarded like its purpose and its intent. Like, it wasn't really created to be like a tier like Studio Ghibli theatrical release, make a big deal about it kind of thing. Even though some people will probably make a big deal out of it just because it's a new thing. They haven't made a new thing in a while.
Right.
But,
two more pieces of anime related news and then one piece of real world news. Godzilla versus King Kong. There's no fucking way King Kong would actually win if those two fought, but what the fuck ever. And Attack on Titan is ending soon, depending on how I am about editing and uploading this. Then perhaps it's already over.
Oh, really?
I want to get this out before that's over, but I don't know how much it is left. My friend John has been keeping up with it, and he gives me drops on ideas just all the time. He's like, have you seen the fucking T-posing monkey titan? And I'm like, that's very cool, John. I'm glad you're enjoying this. And then he's like, yeah, anyways, check out this hentai. And so I don't talk to John about anime much. But Attack on Titan is coming to a close, and that's important to some people.
Yeah. I don't know much about it. Like, I know there's some memes associated with it, but that's about it. Like, awkward pause.
Yeah, awkward pause to get you guys ready for the big reveal. There was a recent tournament arc in the United States. We have one every 4 years to determine the Supreme Hokage of the United States. And Sleepy Joseph Biden absolutely trounced the sitting supreme ruler Donald Trump absolutely shit stomped him like a little piss baby. Joseph R. Biden got the most punches of any Hokage ever, beating Donald Trump's previous record of most punches ever. And that's very impressive.
Oh my god. Sorry.
I will make my political you put this in the docket, so I'm gonna take my fucking chance to talk about it.
Okay.
I don't give a shit about Joe Biden. I'm glad it's not Donald Trump anymore. But Joe Biden is gonna have to do some shit to show me that it was worth voting for him.
I mean,
I did because I had to, right?
Yeah. I mean, like
But so far, it's so much better. Anyways, let's talk about anime. Because it's the only thing that doesn't make me cry anymore. And even then it does.
This is going to be a little weird because, like, we mixed our, like, last week's notes with this week's notes. So it's going to be, like, a little bit split up, but we're going to try to make it work anyway. So here we go. So big developments with the Philosopher's Stones. We see in episode 26, like, right away that, like, the homunculi are actually made by injecting the Philosopher's Stones into people, and that it imbues them with some sort of demonic force, I think. It's not entirely clear, but, like, they don't explain, like, the physics or the logic of it or anything, but, like, that's what we get the sense of, especially after, like, Ling convinces
father, yes. There's a scene where the brothers Elric and Envy, who is a dragon now, and Ling escape from Gluttony's stomach, and they show up in the chamber. Well, Alphonse wasn't there, but they all meet up there in this chamber where Father is booling. And Father is all like, I know you guys. You're pretty rad. That Chinese dude? Fuck him. And the Chinese dude, Ling, is like, fuck you. Give me that Philosopher's Stone. And Father's just like,
okay.
Fuck it. I need another guy. So Ling is greed now.
Yeah.
And that's not touched on at all for the rest of these 10 episodes. So it's touched on a little bit where there's some scenes where Ling is like, I'm not in control of my own body, but I am in control of my own body. But it's an internal, external struggle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Fuck, I just lost my train of thought. God damn it, this keeps happening. Like, oh my god, it's hot in here. Give me a second. I'm gonna see if I can turn my fan on without making too much noise.
6.5 hours later.
Okay, I tried turning on the ceiling fan in my room, and it kept making this rocking noise, and that really made me nervous. So I'm not gonna do that.
The old turn the ceiling fan off in the middle of the night because it's spinning too fast and you think it's gonna kill you in your sleep move.
Yeah, that almost happened to me once. Like, legit. Like,
really? I'm never gonna be in a room with a fan ever again. That's something I've been so irrationally afraid of my entire life, Josh, and you just confirmed that it can happen.
Yeah, I was like 12 or something, and I was like sitting in my room on like this, like, I had like this fuzzy like chair that kind of looked like, have you ever seen Men in Black? And that, like, you know, like they have that scene where like they're filling out the forms or whatever, and like they have like these weird egg-shaped chairs they're sitting in. I had like one of those, but it was fluffy on the inside, and I was sitting down, like I had the chair underneath the ceiling fan as it was spinning around and stuff. And I got up to get a drink, and like literally 5 seconds after I got up, it fell onto the chair. Like I'm not even fucking shitting you. Like this happened. I almost died one day. Like, so
well,
yeah, unnatural fears, they happen. I mean, I guess it's kind of natural since it literally almost killed me, but you know, what are the odds of it happening a second time?
Speaking of things killing things, that doesn't happen here. Except, well, I'm trying to segue back into this, Josh.
Sorry.
Jesus, you've you put me on a mountain here, buddy, and just said go for it. You know what? It's your job now. You find a way to transition back into this from ceiling fans.
Okay, ceiling fans. They're kind of cool, but you know what isn't really very cool are recap episodes. Recap episodes are not very cool. Did I do okay?
Except for this one. This one is rad, and I'll defend it till the day I die.
Yeah, it's an all right way to do the recap episode. I think that it kind of falters because it gets a little boring, and the clips they use are sometimes unrelated to like what the framing device is trying to say. But at the same time,
right.
I do like that they actually use the recap episode in a way to create like an episode that almost feels like a thesis statement for the show.
Right. It isn't just a recap episode. It definitely totally is. But it's not just. It has new shit in it. And it's important new shit. About Father and his relationship with Hohenheim. About how Hohenheim and Father have similar views about people. About how... just all kinds of stuff. And honestly, I could dedicate an entire hour just going over beat by beat in this episode, like everything that they discuss. And I probably wouldn't run out of things to say, but considering we're 30 minutes in already, I'll leave it at it's a very good recap episode because it uses the framing of a recap episode to deliver information about a character that we don't know much about, and it humanizes and villainizes him in such an interesting way simultaneously.
Yeah, it's really interesting because like this is where we kind of get to like the overarching theme of these particular 5 episodes, which is human nature. Are people innately shitty, or can they like overcome evil, and like is evil even worth fighting against? Like, you know, there's a lot of stuff that kind of points to this idea, and obviously like like as a shonen it says like, you know, no, people are great and we got to fight against the evil, but you know, it's great to hear them like legitimately think through the question rather than just like suppose it as so, you know?
Right, to just it instead of having bad guys who are bad and good guys who are good, you have bad guys with philosophy that argues that their stance is just. It allows consideration of what's going on.
Yeah, and yeah, we have bad guys that have philosophy behind their shitty plans, and we have good guys who are constantly like reconsidering whether or not what they're doing is right. Like that happens all the time to the Elric brothers, like especially in relation to the Shao Tucker incident, you know, which like meme as it is, like it's fucking awful. Like, you know, like everything around it sucks, and they're a little bit responsible for what happened, at least like to some degree in a certain viewpoint. So, you know, like they're constantly thinking about what's their role in like fixing the world, and are what they're doing really helping, you know?
Sadly, other than that, it almost always is resolved by, oh yeah, what they're doing is perfectly fine and good and shouldn't be questioned.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like, they do question it for a bit, but at the end of the day, they're like, yeah, this is the best thing they could do.
Okay, so I have questions about Father in specific. Like, so he's not Hohenheim. Like, he's definitively, like, they're 2 different people.
Yes.
Okay, so what is Father then? Is he a twin, a clone, a shapeshifter? Like, what's his deal? Like,
do you want me to tell you?
I mean, like, it's just a lore thing, so like I don't care. You can spoil lore for me, and I don't care. I just don't care about. I just care if it's like a plot point, you know, like lore. I don't care.
It's a pretty.
Oh, is it like? But like, is it a major reveal? Like, you know what?
There's an episode, and it will be in the next set of episodes that we watch, called "The Dwarf in the Flask."
Okay.
And it will go into this in some more detail.
All right.
and I don't feel like discussing this until after that episode, at least.
Okay, so I will put a pin in that
They,
question.
this is like the Father Hohenheim thing is a thing that like gets hashed out in the show.
All right, all right. Okay, so and then there's the thing where he has the ability to turn off other people's alchemy whenever he wants.
Yeah, Father can just like snap his fingers and just. And I don't feel bad about this anymore. I'm not. This isn't a spoiler because it happened. They discuss it later in this episode of or this series of episodes. Um, do you know why that is, Josh?
Okay, so there's a brief moment where May and Dr. Barco are looking at Scar's brother's old research, and
Yes,
okay, so tell me if I'm going on the right direction.
you are. You are 100% in the right direction on
Okay,
this.
so they mention how like the difference between alchemy and alchemy is that alchemy is like it absorbs like the seismic power of the earth, whereas like alchemy manifests more of like the chi of the world, which I don't personally understand that, but I understand there is a difference. So it
Chi is life energy. Um, it's it's pretty much the same in everything that discusses it. It's based on I can't remember if it's Buddhist or Taoist or what it is. It's like an actual concept from one of the major religions in other parts of the world. And so, being a white guy from southern Georgia, raised Methodist, I'm probably gonna butcher some of this.
yeah, that's fine. You know,
So be gentle with me. But ki is just like life energy. And it's like, okay, wow, this is gonna sound real shit, but the best way I can think of it is like, you know how in Final Fantasy VII they have like Mako reactors, which like tap into the life stream of the planet, and life stream is just like ethereal energy that all life sources are connected to and draw from and feed into throughout the cycle of life. You may not understand that if you haven't played Final Fantasy VII, but it's kind of the same idea where it's kind of like a pool of liquid energy
okay.
that everything in every living thing is connected to.
All right.
And so each individual person has their own flow of chi, or sometimes it's pronounced ki. And so you see it in Dragon Ball a lot. Ki is like the basic foundation of power in Dragon Ball as well. And that's what a Kamehameha is. It's a concentration of ki. It's like a ki blast. Or like when he does the spirit bomb, people of Earth, give me your power. He's channeling their ki.
Okay. All right.
And so it's like a general concept of like natural life energy. Whereas alchemy, and that's what alkahestry is supposedly based on. Whereas alchemy is supposedly based on the natural energy within the earth, based on the movement of the tectonic plates, things such as convection currents under the core, not under the core, in the
Like
whatever. It's been a while since I've taken anatomy of planet class or whatever it's fucking called. Geology.
Earth history. I don't know. Like, you know, it's called different things depending on what school you're in. But so anyway.
But basically, alchemy is supposedly in the teachings of Amestris. It's based on like volcanoes and like earth energy and shit.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the case. And I think we can get into this. I think we can get away from the just like, you know, this happened in this episode and this happened in this episode, and just talk about the beef. And you know when we'll do that, Josh? You know when we'll talk about the beef of this episode?
When?
Right after this lovely commercial break.
Fullmetal Alchemist.
Hey guys, right before we get back to Fullmetal Alchemist, I just want to ask a couple quick things from you. We've just started this show and, as full-time students, don't have a lot of time or money to improve or advertise this show. So we're asking you, if you like this show and want to support us, the best way to do that is to share at How-to Otaku Pod with your friends and family on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. Another really important thing you can do is subscribe to us and follow us on any podcast platforms so you don't miss new episodes when they come out. One final thing that people who really want to help us out can do is to become a supporter on our Anchor page. There, you can sign up to give us a monthly contribution as low as $1 or as big as 10, all of which will go to making our show better and helping us reach more listeners. You can sign up for all of that by going to anchor.fm/howtootaku and clicking the support button. That's anchor.fm/howtootaku. Thanks, and back to the show.
Full Metal Alchemist.
We're back,
All right.
and we're talking about alchemy and the power source of alchemy.
Mm-hmm.
Alchemy and alkahestry are the same thing, applied differently, but the same thing. Okay. And so the Xingyi's understanding of alchemy is that the key, the energy of the human body, is what is used to facilitate transmutations.
All right.
The Amestrian understanding is that it is the natural energy of the earth caused by the movement of the plates, volcanic eruptions, tectonic shifts, etc.
Okay.
The Xingyi's believe that it is the energy of the natural energy of the human body, ki, as they call it, because that's what it is. And May drops a little subtle hint that's more like a bombshell in that, and I don't remember if this is like explicitly touched on later or explicitly shown later, and God, I sure fucking hope it's not. But you know how Amestris at this point has been revealed to just actually be one giant transmutation circle for the purpose of creating potentially a massive Philosopher's Stone, but there's been some hints that it's probably not that and maybe something else.
Mm-hmm.
And you know how like every single major city in Amestris was founded on like the mass murder of the people who were there before, and the proliferated murder of hundreds, if not thousands, of other people, like consistently since then. Like in above ground, like war conflict, or in underground secret military camps, and like science facilities.
Yeah.
That is the key of the people who are dead, are dying, are going to be killed in order to produce the energy needed for this this ultra transmutation is just what I'll call it for now. I don't know if people need to be alive for their key energy to remain in a place, or if just like a pile of corpses will have enough latent key energy on it to facilitate transmutation. But that's what it is. It's just people.
Okay, wait a minute. So I'm trying to wrap my head around this. So you're saying that all alchemy is using the chi of the dead people who are there already because of
possibly living. I don't remember if there are just a bunch of people underground alive.
Mm-hmm.
But it's either that or a bunch of dead people.
Okay. That's really, really interesting. Okay. I guess this went a little bit over my head. Like,
do you have any questions?
I don't know, like, I get the concept. Like, okay. Yeah. No, I understand it. I just, like, it's a little bit of mind blow because, like, that kind of gets into, like, the whole ethics of alchemy as a whole. Because, like, you know, that, like, these particular, like, 5 episodes, like these last 5 episodes we're talking about, like they set up a lot about the ethics of alchemy and alchemy, and so like the so like this particular like idea, it definitely like cements this idea that like that there's subjugation within all power, you know, like on some level. Like obviously some power is less objective than others, but at the end of the day, like, you know, like power comes from the the like some sort of misfortune of others, and that's manifested in every way that this society functions, which especially in the case of alchemy, which obviously like if there are dead people like all underground and that's what's fueling all of the powers of alchemy, then yeah, like that raises questions about how we in the real world use objects of power to heal or harm others, you know? Am I making sense?
Right. Yes, definitely. I would like to remind you, Shingi's alchemy. The only thing that makes alchemy morally ambiguous, that's the one. The only thing that makes Emestrian alchemy morally
Ambiguous.
thank you, is the fact that they are not channeling their own life energy consciously, but they are rather consciously channeling the energy of the planet, or at least what they've been taught is the energy of the planet by the people that created the form of alchemy that they know. And that energy is not the energy of the planet, it is the energy of the people, just not themselves. Shingi's alchemy uses the energy of, because it is mostly like medical in use.
Yeah. Like,
They primarily use their own energy and the energy of the person that they're practicing on to successfully transmute. But that's because they're consciously using their own energy. When you put somebody under the idea that you are using the energy of the planet, you can teach them to draw on whatever source of energy you want. They'll think it's the energy of the planet, but like it might not really be. Like I could tell you that I was powering a clock off of an orange and plug 2 wires into an orange and the clock starts running. But I could be lying to you. There could be a battery that I've stuck inside the orange.
yeah. So that's really, really interesting. Like, you know, I guess they don't explain it explicitly, but you know, I do feel like I should have caught that. Like,
Right, and I will say this is, I don't know what like lens you have to watch this show from, because for me that's just like the natural understanding that I got from it. But that's only on this watch through of it. Like when I was a kid, I probably wouldn't have gotten that, or like even if I was like me now and I was watching this now, I probably wouldn't have gotten that. The only reason that I feel like I actually like am theorizing this is because I'm being put on the spot talking about it in an anime podcast where I feel like I need to say things that are useful for other people to listen to, or else the podcast means nothing. And so I feel like even if this is incorrect, it's a decent enough thing to listen to somebody say that it's interesting enough for somebody to like want to listen to it. I could be spitting bullshit right now. Now that we've done several minutes worth of excruciating philosophical and psychomechanical blabbering about the mechanics of a fake fucking thing, let's talk about Hot Mountain Lady and sexy alligator arm man and just, you know, the North Wall.
yes, the North Wall. So this is definitely inspired by Game of Thrones, I think. Like, I believe I looked it up, and Fullmetal Alchemist came out after Game of Thrones, so I imagine that it had some sort of influence. But like, it's cool to see like this like giant wall thing that like is a border, but also like it's its own micro society where everything's very militarized and pragmatic, and everybody's got to have their use, or else they're gonna get kicked out or whatever. Like
I'm gonna be entirely honest.
yeah.
I have seen 3 episodes of Game of Thrones, and those are episode 1 of Game of Thrones, episode 2 of Game of Thrones, the finale of Game of Thrones. So, like, just through cultural osmosis, I have an understanding of what the Northern Wall is, and, like, Jon Snow and the Frostwalkers and all that funny shit. But, like, until you said that, no part of my brain was thinking that these two things were correlated at all.
Yeah, I haven't seen a ton of Game of Thrones, but I watched like the first season, and that's just kind of what stuck out to me because both the Northern Walls like tend to have they have like a very similar obviously aesthetically they look kind of similar, and just that like they're this giant wall on the north end of a border with all the snow around and stuff. But also like on a societal level, they seem to have like a very similar like militarized structure. So that's why I drew the comparison.
I gotcha.
But this is where the focus of these last 5 episodes are, and it's where I believe a lot of the focus will be later on, because I think they dropped earlier that they had the whole country's a big alchemy circle or whatever, and this is the last place they gotta do a big killing in order for everything to be in line and they can do what they want. So, I feel like some shit's gonna go down here very soon.
Right. And we've already set up who the like quote unquote enemy would be under this situation. We've established the vested interest of the Amestrians. We've established the fact that this fortress is here for one purpose and one purpose alone, and it is to kill anything that comes within pissing distance of it.
Yeah.
So that is definitely a thing that is primed and ready to happen at a moment's notice.
Yeah, and there's even a little scene where they establish this big really important room of pipes or whatever. And, I know that's going to come into play later where, something's going to happen to the pipes and everything's going to blow up, I was expecting that to happen sooner, actually, because of the big fight that happens with Sloth in episodes 33 and 34, I think. But, somebody will tell me if my numbers are wrong. But 33 and 34, Sloth shows up. I think it's Sloth anyway. I don't think they name him, but... I assume it's Sloth just by
they
his
named
behavior.
him earlier on. They named him way long ago. Lust and I want to say Envy were talking to Father, or maybe it was Gluttony. Who fucking knows?
Yeah.
And they were like, "Oh yeah, it's a shame that we got to keep Sloth working all the time because he just wouldn't be useful otherwise." And they cut to him in the caverns and he's digging away. He's like, "What a pain."
Yeah, and I think I like Sloth, kind of. He's
you like Sloth? You a big Sloth fan?
Yeah, because he's got if Eeyore was
I was just gonna say
if
that.
Eeyore was stuck in the Hulk's body, that's what Sloth is. He's
100%
just
correct.
He doesn't have the energy for shit he doesn't want to do, so he'll just fuck up anything in his path, but not in a super aggressive way, just as fucked up as it needs
to
be. Yeah. But anyway, Sloth gets fucked up. They push him off the fucking mountain and he freezes. Literally solid or whatever. I presume he'll be back because there's the classic rule in writing that unless you literally see them die definitively and the light goes out in their eyes, they're not dead.
And even then.
Yeah, and even then. I don't think it's a rule in writing in general, but...
Right, this is anime. This is anime, Josh. One of the first things that happens in Dragon Ball Z is Goku fucking dies. And I know that Goku is a big part of Dragon Ball. You don't know shit about Dragon Ball, and I know that you know that Goku's like the main dude.
Mm-hmm.
That's like the third thing that happens in Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, isn't Goku like the edgy one or whatever? Like he's like some edgy.
No, that's Vegeta.
Oh, I don't know. Like my only connection to Dragon Ball is like what I've seen of the movie that nobody likes. So.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
Don't know which one you're talking about. There's a billion of them.
The live action one, the American live action.
Oh Christ.
That's my only connection to Dragon Ball. It's like the YouTube videos that people have made about that movie. But
anyway, speaking of people who come back, Kimberly is back.
Yeah. I think that Kimberly's like, this is like the first time we've seen like Kimberly in action, like because we basically get like all the stuff, the flashbacks to Ishval earlier, and we can talk about those later. But we get the flashbacks to Ishval, and he kind of plays a minor role in that part, and like kind of has this discussion about like, you know, how everything they're doing is justified because these people are shit or whatever. Like, and then we figure out that he was the one who had the first Philosopher's Stone, but it's not injected into him like all the homunculi, so he's not actually a homunculi, but he's still really powerful. Anyway, he's...
Right, he uses it kind of like how Father What's-His-Nuts uses it way early on.
Mm-hmm. So anyway, then he's in the castle, not the castle, he's in jail because he'd done like a shit ton of war crimes or whatever, but then they let him out anyway, and now he's on the hunt for Dr. Marco and Scar. How's that for a recap?
That is a very good recap. I don't know where to throw this in, so I guess I'll do it here. We do get a bit of a flashback to the very first episode, Josh. You remember the water alchemist or the ice alchemist, whatever they called him?
Yeah, like what's his name? Fucking Freezer or whatever. Like
Freezer, that's right.
Is it that? Like,
yeah, that's it. Josh, he's a good guy.
Isaac the Freezer. Okay, he's a good guy. Like what? Like what?
He's a good guy.
Okay, what? I forgot this.
Josh, Josh, I fucking primed you for this, dude.
I'm sorry, I missed this part.
I primed you for this. I told you at the very beginning everything was great, and that this dude seemed like he had some like, Isaac the Freezer. He was like, "Don't you understand? I'm fighting against the fucking deep state." And listen, we're gonna separate real world from anime real quick. In anime, the deep state exists. Lizard people are real. They're named Envy. Only in Fullmetal Alchemist. If you believe otherwise, fuck right off. Don't listen to this show anymore. It's not for you.
I think that's a little unnecessarily harsh. Like, I mean, like I don't understand the deep state like argument or whatever, but like, you know, I'm not mean to people like that. I just like, I feel bad for them. Like,
I'm not. Listen.
I mean, like,
if you think that QAnon is a viable way of thinking, I don't think we can be friends IRL. You can keep watching this show if you enjoy it.
I think we need to save this conversation for our politics podcast. What would we call our politics podcast? That's an interesting question.
How-to Hokage.
But that doesn't rhyme, so we need to do something different. Like, never mind. Anyway, let's save that for the politics podcast that we will name later. Right, where are we at? Right, okay, so I was talking about, what's his face? Fuck me. Kimberly. Okay, so Kimberly is tracking down Dr. Marco and Scar. They're on the run because that's what they do. He eventually tracks them down in, like, the Northwest or whatever. They have a pretty cool but pretty short duel on a train where Kimberly gets impaled, and he's taken to Briggs to get healed, and that's where he's at now. And Scar is fuck knows where. Marco was actually with Mei Chang the whole time looking for Scar's brother's research, and they find it like in the middle of the fucking woods or whatever, and they start to decipher it.
It's a very, very detailed and intelligent recap there, Josh. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So, what do you think about like Kimberly as a character? Because like, he's kind of interesting because like he's not like he has like more alchemy power than your average person, but like he's not like homunculi superpowers, so that kind of makes him really interesting because he's in like this middle area where like you could hypothetically beat him, but he's still like, you know.
I like Kimberly for the dynamic that he adds to the show, where we now have like catch me if you can kind of thing going on with him and with Scar. I'm not a big fan of Kimberly as a character, but that's just because like I'm not a big fan of war criminals. But that being said, I do appreciate the dynamic that is introduced by the fact that he is being sent on a manhunt for Scar, and the fact that Scar is playing a very fun game of cat and mouse with him.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and while we're talking about new characters, we should get back to what we were talking about earlier, which is Briggs and the new characters we meet there. Specifically, Olivier Armstrong, Alex Louis Armstrong's badass sister who lives in this, who like rules over the fucking Briggs, you know.
Badass, hot older sister.
Is she your type? Like, I feel like
maybe.
Like, I don't know.
I'm a man of many tastes. I have several types, Josh, and you know what? Olivier Armstrong definitely is fucking one of them.
I mean, that's wonderful for you. I don't think I can simp that hard, but...
Now, Josh, what was that girl's name from, like, episode 12 or whatever? The one with the books and the glasses?
Sheska?
What was her name now?
Sheska.
Okay. Can't simp that hard. Gotcha. Listen, she's not the fucking shit brick house that Alex Louise Armstrong is, but the woman can take care of some fucking business and look good while doing it.
I agree. Like, you know, I just, like, I'm not into that hard of a dom. That's what I mean. Like...
that's fully understandable, and honestly, if she was a real person, I probably wouldn't be all that here for it, because I'm usually... That's a little too much information for this anime podcast. But, you know, cartoon ladies sure do make me smile when I see her.
Okay. Alright. And there's like other characters too that get introduced to us. There's like one general who I forgot his name, but he's an Emestrian. I mean, not an Emestrian, but like he's a
Ishvalan.
He's a Emestrian Ishvalan like mixed race, I guess. Like,
yeah.
Okay. That's kind of an interesting dynamic because like you get like this character who's between worlds, between this fucking country has given me everything that I have, but also like this fucking country took fucking tons of my family. So like, you know,
right.
It's a really interesting dynamic, and I'm interested to see where that goes.
He's around for a while now.
Mm-hmm.
And his name is
Miles.
Major Miles.
Talk about alliteration.
Also, one other last thing, and I guess that we've done a pretty good job getting through all this, yeah?
Yeah, I think so.
I would like to touch on the, just very briefly, on the automail situation of the North.
Okay, yeah. So, this is a little bit of, like, you know, the technical, like, lore side of things, but we can get into that. So, so basically when the Elrics get up into the North, they meet, like, this big fucking hunk man who, like, whose name I forget. And...
We're so good at names.
Yeah, I'm fucking awful at names. Like, you know, if I see you like if I see you like in person and then like you tell me your name, I will not remember it. Like there is no way. It never happens. I never remember somebody's name the first time ever. Um anyway, so fucking Hunkman shows up. He's got like a big fucking like uh crab cracker arm or whatever, you know, like one of those things they give you at a seafood place, like the crab or whatever. And like he nearly breaks Ed's automail, and then when they're all like back at Briggs, they have like this discussion about how like the automail that Ed and a lot of other more southern Mestrians have is really unsuitable for this particular climate.
Right, because metal plus cold doesn't always work. And so the Amestrians, or the Fort Briggs
Northern
division, has formulated their own special automail, which they say the formula for, but I mean, really doesn't matter. It's just interesting that they thought of that as a problem and they had an answer for it. And I do think it's kind of a shame that it's only a problem for a very limited amount of time. Because, I mean, I'm assuming by the beginning of the next episode, or not too far through the next few episodes, Winry will be called and, you know, shit'll be taken care of.
Yeah, I mean, it'll probably come up again. I just feel like it will because, like, you know, it feels like a bit of a it feels like it would suck to just kind of like introduce that idea and not do anything with it. So I hope they do more with it. Like even if it's just like in some one-off episode where like, you know, something happens or whatever. But like, you know, he breaks his fucking automail again.
I do like how Alphonse's little hair tuft is forever shorter now.
Anyways,
I think that about wraps it up.
Yeah, I think that's all we really need to talk about. Yeah.
Well, Josh, I'll go ahead and do the little call to action thing here at the end.
All right.
If you've enjoyed what you've listened to so far, it'd be real wonderful if you could like, follow, and share our Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram accounts at How-to Otaku Pod. Email us at howtootakupod@gmail.com. Hit us up on Anchor. You can donate to us directly through Anchor. You can join like a monthly subscription through Anchor to help support us. And we have like direct messaging straight through Anchor, so you can send us little voicemails or I think even text messages that we can read. And the voicemails can be incorporated into the show. My personal information, if you want to follow me, that's my Twitter is the only real place that I am. That's Brogan_live. And if you want to catch me on Twitch, which I've been live streaming a little bit lately, that's Brogan Live. You'll find me playing Rainbow Six Siege or Risk of Rain 2 or Final Fantasy 14. And when Monster Hunter Rise comes out, if I have the money for a capture card, I'll probably be playing a good bit of that as well.
Ooh, one thing I learned about recently is that there's actually this little device. I'll send it to you, but it's like I forget what it's called, but like it's made by this company that makes Switch accessories, and they made this little thing the size of a flash drive that will literally take any video feed and put it into your computer as a webcam feed, basically allowing you to record it or stream it however you want. So, you know,
really send this to me, because I mean that's pretty much a capture card, and if it's any cheaper than like $150, then
yeah,
I'll
probably
try and snag that.
It's called the Genki Shadowcast, and
really,
yeah, and it's on Kickstarter right now. They've got
this is not a sponsor, unless Genki wants it to be.
It's not a sponsor. I believe if you donate $40, you'll get one.
Really? Like anytime soon?
I believe they're supposed to ship in April. So, like, I was just like, I saw an ad on YouTube and I looked into it, and it looks really, really cool. And like, apparently it's from like a super reputable.
I don't know if that'll work how I want it to. Oh shit! It will.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's
advertised to work exactly like it. Huh.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, I'm probably gonna hold off on that for a while, just until it comes out and reviews happen. But
Yeah, but like this is like
that looks like a very good alternative to the Elgato.
yeah, because like aren't capture cards usually like $100 or whatever at least?
Yes, the Elgato HD60S typically retails for like 180, 150 or so. You can get them secondhand for about 100. But if the Genki Shadowcast is,
$40.
I mean, even like 3/4 is good, then 100% that over the Elgato every single time.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm happy that I could help. And if you want to figure out what some other little things I figure out about, you can follow me on my social media. You can check me out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at JD Thorn Film. I made sure that all of my socials have the same handle now, so you can follow
Hell
me
yeah,
anywhere.
that's what we talk about. See, that's that good shit. That's that brand awareness shit.
Yes. So Facebook, Twitter, Instagram.
JD Thorn
at
Films?
JD Thorn Film. And if you want to follow me on Letterboxd, you can follow me at JD Thorn. Links in the description. And I don't know, I might start a Twitch soon. Like, I don't think I'd be fun on Twitch just because, like, I don't talk a lot when I play video games. But maybe, like, you know, maybe be actually streaming will, you know, like, get me to do that more often. I don't know.
It helps a lot if you have an active chat, which starting out you will not.
Yeah.
So the way I've gotten around that is that I'm not exactly streaming like a streamer would, or like in a traditional sense.
Yeah.
Like I'm not doing like the ninja, oh I'm playing Fortnite and every once in a while somebody comments or donates or whatever. Because I don't really have an incredibly active chat unless somebody wants to change that. But I have a couple friends that I play Siege with, and we have a good time. We if somebody starts being racist, we troll them by saying we fucked their dad. It's a real good time.
Anyway.
But I think that brings us to a close.
All right. So thank you all for listening. Thank you all for liking and sharing and following us. And thank you for any and all support you give us. And we'll see you next time.
I'll see you, Space Cowboy.